What happens when a breach actually happens or seems to have happened? A caution. We need to report it? Yes. Let's look at how DPDP looks at it. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you regularly see new content on privacy and on DPDP Act. And as I said, we are now going to talk about how does DPDP look at a breach or a possible breach in an organization and how should you look at it. Incident handling is an important thing where you suspect that something could have gone wrong. Breaches, they are not just technical events. It's far beyond being a technical event. They are governance failures. That means there was something wrong in your systems that you did not handle properly. And the focus of our regulators, especially DPDP Act, is to prevent any harm to an individual. So it automatically becomes extremely important for us to understand what should an individual do if there is an incident, or rather, what should a fiduciary do when there is an incident. Of course, individual will also have a role to play if that incident gets classified into a breach. Focus on minimum possible damage. So, the moment the principal is aware, he can be a helpful tool to ensure that the damage is reduced, at least for himself. But if everyone does it for themselves, overall things would impact. So, if the principal is aware, you can take their help to minimize their impact. For example, if it's a credit card information loss, you can use the principal's help and the principal can get his card blocked. Therefore, the misuse is reduced. Poor response is a higher risk. Very important thing. You don't even tell me what has gone wrong. You don't even tell me that the possibility of my card getting misused. My risk increases. So how do you classify or differentiate between an incident and a breach? So if there's a sort of an unauthorized access attempt, it's an incident. What does it alarm? Someone tried to. Therefore, if we know the IP, we check there. Therefore, if we know the username that he attempted, let's check who possibly could have access to it. As a precaution, let's get his credentials replaced. Not the username because it would be by some formats, but at least his password changed immediately. Any misconfiguration caught could be a incident. Any suspicious activity. One of the examples is this unauthorized access attempt. And I have given this example only from point of view of a user trying to log in with the wrong password. Right? It could also be that a user does not have access to a folder, but is trying to double click, trying to see if he can enable sharing. Right? That could be another suspicious activity. A device is lost could be an incident. Why only an incident? Because if the device is encrypted, password protected, or if it does not even have personal data, then chances of breach are reduced. The only other difference is if the password is easy or does not exist, and he has even kept everything open on his browser. So you click on the Gmail and his mailbox opens. You click on those 9 dots and open up a Word or an Excel file. Then you have access to everything. Then what should he do? He should immediately change his passwords and block all the applications one by one that he was using before someone misuses it. So personal data breach as such is where the data gets actually exposed. So the part 2 of my previous example where someone has gone into his email and gone into his Excel and Word files is the actual breach. And if that Excel file has the banking information of all his colleagues, staff members, he's from HR or he's from finance, right? Then that becomes a big issue. Unauthorized disclosure, unintentional disclosure, maybe an intentional disclosure. Someone sabotaged your setup, right? These are all breaches, right? DPDP says if one of the following happens to your personal data, which is an unauthorized access, an unauthorized disclosure, alteration, loss of personal data, or destruction of personal data, then you classify it as a breach. So unauthorized access, disclosure, altercation, loss, destruction all qualifies into a breach. Common causes of data breach. Wrong email recipients send an email to wrong set of people. Email had confidential personal information. Unauthorized access, lack of IT security measures. Security measures are not even applied or not there fully. For example, basic encryption when you are sending emails. API or cloud misconfiguration, some security lapse that you have left there. Or a device is lost. You have lost your telephone, you have lost your mobile phone, which had personal information. Accidental or intentional sharing or disclosure to unauthorized non-business third parties, even if business third parties but unauthorized. Now an error, which could be like you copy all the personal information on a pen drive and you lose the pen drive. Simple, and the data was not even encrypted. Internal misuse is same as an intentional sharing of data. And third-party failures, your processors, your sub-processors didn't take care of the data the way they were expected to take care of it. Why a delayed response is risky? That's because you increase your risk window. The example I gave, if I immediately know that there's a risk to my card, I can get it blocked, maybe half an hour. If I come to know it after a day, maybe it has already been misused, right? Data principal could take prevention steps immediately, and the more delay you do, the more difficult to face the regulators. It shows your poor governance, and then that can all lead into multiplication of the penalty that the board can put on. So silence after a breach is worse than the breach itself. So be very, very careful with this. So in a nutshell, DPDP focuses on harm and response, and therefore first, try your best to avoid an incident, try your best to avoid a breach, and if it happens, please respond immediately. You have to. Every incident needs to be handled. Corrective measures need to be taken, and incidents and breach should not be repeated. So you learn from the incident and ensure there is no breach. You learn from a breach to make sure that the same breach or a similar one does not happen again. Strong incident breach handling mechanism could always reduce the risk of privacy to your users and to your data principals. So that's about the basic of incident and data breach handling with respect to DPDP. We'll continue discussing more about incidents and breach and about privacy and DPDP Act. So stay tuned with my channel and share your feedback and comments in the feedback section. Thank you.